Hello, spooky friends. It's me, RJ. For those of you who do know me, hi, how you been? It's nice to see you. For those of you who don't know me, hi, nice to meet you. So I'm gonna be honest right now. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is the first time that I've ever tried to do something like this. So, uh, essentially, it's gonna be hi, hello, welcome to the shit show. But you know, it is what it is. So I am here to talk about my new business venture of RJ's Readings. Now, RJ's Readings is both a tarot and rune reading service, but right now, I would specifically like to focus on the runes because I have a lot of spooky friends, and I have. Sorry, my chair is being weird. I have a lot of spooky friends, and a lot of them have mentioned to me, oh, I mean, I don't really know that much about runes. Sure, I'll take a rune reading, because, I don't know how it works. Sounds cool, sounds spooky, I'm down. So, I mean, I figured I'd share my knowledge in the hopes of enlightening those of you out there who would like to know. Now, there are, off the top of my head, I don't know how many different kinds of runes there are because there are different. The ones that I use are the Elder Futhark runes, but there's Celtic runes and a bunch of other things. I don't know, I'm not an expert. I am just working with what I know. So it's a learning experience, which is always good, because if you go to someone and you ask for a reading and they're like, oh, I know everything, I don't trust that, first of all, because if you know everything, then where's the fun? Where's the fun in it for you? I feel like doing a reading for somebody should be both a learning experience for them and for you. Because if you're not learning anything, or if you're not getting anything out of it besides money, then why are you doing it? Where's the love? Where's the excitement? I mean, I do like money. Money is very useful. Money does also kind of make me excited sometimes, but I'd rather learn something. I'd rather have an experience with another human being instead of give me your money. Okay, here's your answers. Get out. So today we are going to be talking about the Futhark runes and my general overview knowledge of runes. Fuck. Don't have a swear jar, but just pretend I put something in a swear jar. My bad, y'all. So, what are runes? Let's start there. It sounds like a logical place to start. Runes are basically a very ancient form of written communication. They were used mainly in Germanic cultures, so, Germany. And, I mean, they're sort of, they have similarities between other ancient languages, like hieroglyphs, or hieroglyphics? I think it's hieroglyphics. We're gonna go with that. And the ancient written language of the kanji, which is still used in Japan today, but it was introduced by, I think Korea to Japan. I don't remember off the top of my head. I did this research earlier just because I was I have ADHD, so I was let me just go down this deep dark hole of information then. Because why not, But yeah. So the similarities between, hieroglyphics and the kanji and runes are, they're obviously ancient forms of written communication, but with hieroglyphics, and more specifically the kanji, each character, has a meaning of its own. So each character is, a letter, but it's also it's it also embodies a concept. So it's not just, okay, this symbol means A, this symbol means B, C, D, so on. With the Latin alphabet that most of us, at least most of us in the US, know. With runes, well, with the kanji, it's not really the same there because all of them are just concepts. But with runes, they do actually have, a Latin alphabet equivalent and then the concept that they're supposed to represent. So they have two different meanings. And that is what makes them so great for divination. Because depending on how many runes you pull, throw, I don't actually know. My instinct is to go with pull because that's what you do with tarot cards. But again, I'm not an expert here. I'm just going with what I know. So depending on how many, I'm getting my runes out, give me a second, how many you pull, because there's 25 in the set that I'm using. So like you could pull, I don't know, let's say 12. And you could try and decipher sentence out of what those characters, represent in the Latin alphabet, which may or may not work out because, it's a little bit like doing one of those word games where they just give you like a handful of letters and they're like, make a word out of this, and it's like, okay, but none of those go together as a word. It's just gibberish. So you can try doing that. It's not something that I like to do because I feel it's limiting. Because, if you're just, pulling out runes like Scrabble pieces and trying to assemble a sentence, it's going to take you a while and you're going to miss the point of what is trying to be communicated to you, in my opinion. Because, you're going to be so focused on trying to make it make sense in, a shallower sense than when you look at what the runes represent as concepts. So let's grab a random one. I'll close my eyes for this. Hopefully I don't drop any of them on the floor. What do we got? Ooh, I think I know this one. But again, not an expert. Let me do a quick look-see in my handy dandy. Actually, I'm not gonna look in this book. I'm gonna look in the one that I made. Because this is what happens when I study things. This is what the ADHD does. It says build a notebook and write it all down. And I did. I built this notebook out of unicorn duct tape and fancy cardstock and printer paper. So I used this to practice reading runes. I mainly use this to practice reading my own runes because, I write, my handwriting isn't the best when I don't have lines. When I do readings for other people, I make sure that I have lines and I can, write it out in a way that they can understand. And if they can't understand my handwriting, which happens, I will definitely type them up because what's the point in paying somebody for a reading that you can't read? Okay, so which one is this? Okay, let me find that one in the book. In my book. Wait. Okay, so it's just before that one. Haha. Okay, so show this to y'all. It's a very simple shape. Honestly, most of these just look like doodles. To me, in my humble opinion, they look like somebody decided that they were gonna doodle, but only with straight lines. And then they decided that they said, this looks good. We can use this. Well, this is our new written language. Cool. Anyway. So there we have Kenaz, which, again, I'm not an expert, so I may be mispronouncing these. However, the message is still the same, regardless of whether I pronounce it correctly or not. And there's actually different names for these depending on where you look. Because this one has a pronunciation guide that I wrote down. Pronunciation K or a hard C. So Kenaz sounds right to me. I'll leave that up for you to decide, but sounds right to me. Variations. I'm not sure if the variations require the K or hard C sound, but there's one that's spelled C-E-N-K, so it's either kenk or senk. Again, I'm not an expert here. Knaz, which is the German, and this one's interesting. K-A-U-N, which to me sounds like con? Anyway, enough of that. Anyway, so this little sideways V shape means torch. Now, give me 2 quick seconds, or maybe more quick seconds, because I have the chart where it shows you the alphabet version and then the meaning version saved on my phone, which I probably should have pulled up before I started this, but I'm a mess. Give me 2 seconds. Downloads. Did I download it, or did I just do a dumb and not download it? Because that also sounds like something I would do, to be perfectly honest. Yep, I did a dumb. But that's okay. I still have Google. Un momento, por favor. Now I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. This chart, I'm getting it from Wikipedia. So if you want to learn about runes, it's really not that hard. It sounds super complicated and daunting, just like learning how to read tarot cards sounds super complicated and daunting because you have a bunch of, little tiny bits of, wood or stone. Mine are made of wood. And I love them. Look at them. Look at it. It's so nice. And they just have little symbols on it. And it's like, okay, well, what does this mean? How do I find out what all these mean? And there's 25 of them. That's a whole bunch of different little symbols that I'm going to have to try and figure out what they mean. I'm going to have to try and remember them. It's just stressful, which it's why I made myself a little guidebook, because ain't no way I'm going to remember all of these off the top of my head. There's no way. There's no way. Not to mention, if I ever try to look at, Celtic runes and other kinds of runes, I am a human being. I am not a machine. I do not have a special hard drive in my brain that helps me remember teensy little details of all the things. Aha, I found it. Okay, so. Oh, well, that makes sense. So the Latin alphabet correspondence for Kenaz. Yeah, it goes this way. It's supposed to go this way. Meh. Either way. So yeah, the Latin alphabet correspondence for this one is K or C, which makes sense. That's what I put for the pronunciation guide. That is the main sound heard when you say the name, so makes sense. Now, if you got this one and I don't know, what does this one mean? What's the correspondence to this one? Which is... What are you? I think this one's Othala. This one's O. Then what else do we have? We have this one, which is answers, which corresponds to the letter A. So K-O-A. What is this one? We have... Nuts, where did you go? There you are. This is why I made myself a guidebook, because even Wikipedia is on some next level shit with their... I don't even know. How do you even pronounce that? Like, that doesn't even look like a real word to me. It's like P-E-R and then some other symbol that I've never seen before in my life. I was right, that one is Othala. Where are we going? Where are we going with this? I'm gonna find it in my book, in my magic book, my book of shadows. Just kidding, it's not a book of shadows, it's a book of runes. My book of shadows is actually at my house right now. I was right! It's Perdo. Which again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, it doesn't matter! Pronunciation guide, the only thing there is P. So. But yeah, so we have K, O, A, and P. And that's 4. Okay. Obviously. But like, if you spend all of your time trying to form an actual word, like, you're gonna have a bunch of them, and some of them might not even be the ones that you're supposed to have, and it dilutes the meaning. But anyway, let's go back to canals. You scoot all those over here. Can I make this smaller? I cannot. Okay. But yeah, this is my... Well, this is Wikipedia's guide. So we have kanats, which means torch. I'm gonna burn this motherfucker to the ground. Could be one of the meanings, to be honest. Let me go back to the page that I was on. There it is. So, if we just look at this one, which represents the letter K or C, and means torch. Now, the essence of this rune, connected with fire and its multiple meanings, can illuminate and heat, create expansion, or it can burn, causing destruction, associated with illnesses such as fever and burns, and illnesses that seem to consume the person suffering them. Now that in and of itself, you can draw your own conclusions from that, because, you know, if you ask for a reading, let me make sure it's safe face and there we go. If you ask for a reading and somebody pulls this and they explain to you, you know, it's connected with fire, which, you know, can, you know, warm you up or burn things to the ground. Does this sound like anyone or anything that's currently happening in your life? You know, does it sound like maybe it's a call to action? Hopefully not burning anything to the ground, because, you know, us spooky people who do these things, we don't want to give people that sort of information and then end up on the first 48 being asked by, you know, I don't know, Detective Tim, did you know that the information that you gave your client was going to lead them to double homicide? No, I did not. I did not realize that showing them the torch rune was going to lead them to arson. But hey, you know, once they leave here, it's not my business. But yeah, don't Don't do that. Because when you go get a reading, whether it's tarot cards or runes, they're not like, definite yes or no answers. They're just, I don't know, they're kind of like cosmic suggestions. Because, I mean, you can go to any. Woo, almost smacked myself in the face with my microphone. You can go to any spooky person or just somebody who enjoys reading tarot cards. You can go to anyone and get a reading, and they don't know what's going on in your life. They know that you showed up to get some answers, but they don't know you. I mean, if they're your friend, then obviously they do know you, and you know them. But if you go to a random person and ask for a reading, they don't know what's going on in your life. They just know that you're looking for answers. And so what they're going to do is they are going to use the medium of either runes or cards to sort of be a cosmic antenna. So you can ask, I know my man's is cheating on me. I just need to know her name. I just want to talk. Like, we can't give you that answer. We don't know you. We don't know your man's. We don't know who's in his friends list, who's in his DMs. Like, we don't know these answers. We can give you a suggestion, like, I don't know. Where's the rune for beauty? I think that's Othala. No. It is, never mind. I need like hold music or something. What do we got? Well, that's entrance. No, Othala means nobility. I knew that. Found it. And actually, let me find it in my little collection here. I gotta flip them all over so I can see what they are. Now this one, ooh, nope, it's upside down. This one, most people are already familiar with, even though they're not actually familiar with it. They just know this shape because they've seen the symbol for Bluetooth. Now, Bluetooth was actually, that symbol was created because the dude who invented Bluetooth used runes to essentially create that symbol, and they're supposed to like signify his initials or his name. Again, I don't 100% know, but this is Berkana. It means swan, and it's associated with women in their traditional roles: mother, wife, sister, and daughter. Has a receptive energy with strength in welcoming, understanding, and nurturing. Rune of sensuality and maternity. Closely connected with the arts due to a sense of energy that creates and transforms. So, we can't tell you what Becky's name is, and I'm just using Becky because I don't know what else to do. We can't tell you what her name is, but we can tell you why. Or maybe, have you ever considered that maybe this is why your man's is seeing Becky on the side? Like, maybe they're more nurturing than you. Maybe they're, more receptive and creative than you. Maybe you guys just aren't vibing. Maybe you should, leave him. I mean, if he's gonna be shady enough and cheat on you to begin with, like, fam, that's a red flag. Maybe he thinks that he needs something else than what you're providing, but like, if he's cheating, first of all, you don't need to know her name. You just need to either pack your shit and leave his house, or pack his shit, leave it on your front lawn, and be like, bye. So we can't give you definite answers. We can't say, will I get this promotion? Yes. Yes, honey, you will get that promotion 100%. We don't know that. We don't even know where you work. I mean, you could mention that in conversation. It doesn't really matter because, it's not going to affect the reading. But, we can't give you definite answers. Will he propose? Will I get the promotion? Will, my grandmother come out of the hospital? We don't know these things. There's no way for us to know these things because, we're not doctors. We're not the people in charge of promoting you. We're not your mans who may or may not have a ring in his pocket somewhere. We don't know. We can give you general cosmic suggestions of what the answer might be. So we can give you, Arcana, which swan, beauty, nurturing, all this other stuff. Mother, wife. That is a strong indicator that maybe he is going to propose. Or it's a strong indicator that you remind him of his mother. Or it's a strong indicator that, he thinks you're fine, but that's it. We don't know the answer here. And why am I getting a phone call? I don't know you people. Why are you calling me? Leave me alone. But yeah, we can't give you definite answers. We can't give you a yes or a no. We can give you a maybe. Have you tried looking at it from this perspective? Have you tried looking at it from that perspective? But that's the best that we can do. So I know that it's tempting to latch on to the idea of divination as, okay, I'm going to look into my crystal ball and I'm going to give you X, Y, Z of the plan. And you have to follow this plan to the letter or shit's going to hit the fan. It's more like I can give you, LMNOP of maybe reasons why things might be happening, things that you might want to consider about your life, stuff like that. Because divination is not just a question and answer situation. Again, like I said at the beginning, if it's not a learning situation for both people, then I don't really see the point. But divination is also an exercise in psychology. And I'll tell you why. And I opened this drink and I haven't taken a sip yet. I'm thirsty. Leave me alone. Refreshed. Now I can put the lid back on, put it over here so I don't spill it. Okay, so basically what happens in a reading is, somebody goes in, asks their question, will my friend ever talk to me again after, that fight that we had? Are we ever going to be friends again? Or, are we done? Which, again, we can't give you a definite answer, but we can give you suggestions let's go with Canaz again. And let's go with Berkana. And then there's another one that I really wanted to include. This one, I think. Let me double check. Consulting the book. It's not that one. It's one of these other ones. This one. Okay, so we have Canaz, which means torch. We have fuck, I keep doing that. Ah, dang it. Imaginary swear jar. My bad, okay? I'm doing my best. I did it again, Jesus. Berkana, which means, you know, beauty, mothering, nurturing, this, that, and the other. You know what it means. And then this one, which I'm just gonna triple check that this means what I think it means before I make a fool of myself. And I promise you, if you ask me for a reading, whether it's in person or not, I'm gonna do the reading and I'm gonna look in this book. Like, I'm not just gonna be like, okay, here's your reading, here's the answers, done. I don't have a photographic memory like that. So many pages. I'm gonna be here forever. There it is. Right, I am right, okay. So, turn it this way. No, it's this way. No. Alright, well, it's supposed to be the other way. So that little dangly bit is supposed to be facing that way, but if I do this, you don't see anything. So we're gonna pretend that it's facing the correct direction. Okay? Suspension of disbelief. Anyway, that is, again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but we're gonna go with it. Lagus. Ooh. I done fucked up flower crown. Gosh, dang it. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna keep doing it. It's just gonna keep happening. If you don't like that word, go fluff yourself. I don't know. But anyway, this one means water. So, water. Torch. Beauty. Water. So, in that order, and the order doesn't really matter when you're reading runes. It also doesn't really, well, depending on the type of reading you're doing, because if you're doing like a specific 3-card or 3-rune reading where it's like, okay, here's the past, here's the present, here is the possible future, then that, the order does matter. The order that you pull them in does matter. But if you're just doing a general reading, then the order doesn't really matter. But if we keep them in the order that we drew them in, so torch, beauty, and water. With the question, you know, is my friend ever going to talk to me again? Are we still friends? Like, can we fix this? Can we, you know, get back on the same page, in good standing with each other? We have torch, beauty, and water. So it could potentially mean, with torch, you know, maybe that's the fight. Maybe that's the big thing that happened, and because fire has so many different aspects of, you know, warming you up, or, you know, burning things to the ground, or, you know, it's associated with illnesses that are consuming people, that could mean, you know, nah, that bridge is burned. You're never going back. You're never going to be friends again. Just accept it. Or it could mean, you know, maybe you guys got into this fight because one or both of you is consumed by feelings that you guys don't actually want to discuss. So you're deflecting it to other aspects of your life. Like, maybe one of you is super jealous of the other because, you know, your friend has an expensive car, a nice house, this, that, and the other, and you're just, you know, rooming with your fucking sister or something. I don't know. I room with my sister, so that was a personal dig. But I mean, my sister is a lovely person, and I love her very much. But like, maybe you're jealous of this person, but you don't want to tell them that because then they might not want to be your friend anymore. But at the same time, that energy doesn't just go nowhere. Like, I mean, it consumes you from the inside. So maybe you got into a fight with this person because of something unrelated to the jealousy, but being fueled by the jealousy that is still inside because, you know, it's got nowhere else to go. So, I mean, that could be part of it. It could also mean that, you know, this person still has warm feelings for you. Like, they still have a high regard for you. They still really like you. Um, but, you know, it was a pretty big fight, and we don't know what's going to happen. But then if we go to this one, beauty, could also tie into the jealousy thing, because I mean, maybe you're jealous of your friend because they're super hot and you feel like a fucking potato on the daily. So it's like, why? How are you this attractive and I'm this ugly? Like, I don't understand. Again, something that, I mean, it's not really beyond your control, because I mean, you can do whatever you want, or you could just decide that you like how you look. It's up to you. But it could be part of the jealousy thing. It could also be, what could it also be? It could also be that the friendship that you have with this person is too nurturing for you. Like, it's helping you more as a person to have them as a friend than to not have them as a friend. So, you know, with the torch, maybe that was the fight, and then we have beauty, nurturing, mothering. Okay, so maybe one of y'all needs to be the bigger person and go say sorry and kiss and make up. Or, you know, maybe with the torch being fire and this being beauty, maybe your life is going to be much more beautiful without them. Maybe because that bridge has been burned, now you're going to experience the beauty in life more than you would have with that person in your life. Dun, dun, dun. So, I mean, that's just two. If we move on to the third one, which is water. Water, which has a double essence connected to creativity and fertility, as the water that wets the earth makes plants grow and flowers bloom. Also connected with destruction, as the flood that washes away everything in its path without mercy. The energy of this rune is profound and untamed. So, wet and wild, that's what I'm going to call it now. So, we have torch, beauty, water. Maybe, you know, the torch was the fight, but your life is better with them in it. So, you know, maybe one of y'all needs to go be the nice person and say sorry, put the fire out, because you can't really do anything until the fire's out. Like, once you're into a fight with somebody and you're not on speaking terms, one of you has to reconcile, or you're just not going to talk again, ever. And, I mean, that's entirely up to you. I'm not telling y'all what to do. If y'all get into a fight with somebody and you stop speaking to them, then, I mean, you don't have to talk to them again. If you want to, go ahead. But, like, if you don't want to, or if they don't want to, then hey, I mean, that's none of my business. Okay. So, torch, beauty, water could be the fight, but your life is better with them in it. So go put that fire out and fix things. Or torch, meaning that bridge is burned. There's no going back. You're not going to be friends anymore. Get over it. But your life is going to be more beautiful without them in it. So cleanse yourself of the negative energy that they put into your life, so that you will be able to see the beauty of life much better than if you still hold on to the toxic energy of, you know, this bridge that was burned. Like, I mean, you have to clean a fireplace before you can use it again, essentially. Now, I don't actually know if you clean fireplaces with water, because I've never actually had a fireplace. But y'all get the idea, okay? So, like, there's more than one meaning behind each and every rune. There's more than one way that you can interpret them. And, I mean, when you read the runes to somebody and you give them all of those alternatives, you can then ask, okay, so with the torch means fire. So, I mean, do you feel like it means fire in the destructive sense, or do you feel like it means fire in the, nice, warm, cozy sense? Because if you feel like it means fire in the destructive sense, then that's a hint. Because, I mean, I don't know what's going on, but if that's how you feel, then that's probably the right answer. And then with the beauty one, okay, do you feel like the beauty is, mothering, nurturing, or, creative? Like, do you feel like if this is the destructive one, does this feel mothering, nurturing, creative? Is it something that, maybe you need to find somebody who will take better care of you? Maybe you need to find somebody who will help you see beauty and creative things in a better light than this person did. And then finally with the water, does it sound, creative, fertile, cleansing, or, does it sound like we're just gonna drown everyone and who the fuck cares? Like, these are the questions that you might be asked when you ask your question and get your reading. So definitely be prepared if you ever do get a reading to do some introspection, which granted is not a fun thing to do all the time, but nobody else can solve your problems for you, which, I mean, sounds really shitty, but it's the truth. So you can go to somebody for answers. You can go to, a rune reader or a tarot reader or some other sort of... I have a little cart over here with a very tall handle and I just smacked it and it scared me. But you can go to some other sort of divinatory person and, ask for answers, and they can give you the suggestions. And then with those suggestions, you then have to have a little sit down with yourself and decide, okay, what do these suggestions mean? Like, why are these suggestions being made to me? What do they pertain to in my life? Like, I mean, if somebody gives you, torch, so fire, burning, warming, or, destructive, what does it mean? Like, if you went in there, like, asking, will I get a puppy? Will I get a puppy for Christmas or something like that? And then somebody gives you torch, like, what does that mean? That doesn't sound like it has anything to do with my question. Like, what does fire have to do with dogs? But I mean, again, destructive or warming. So it might be, the warm fuzzies of having a puppy, which is always nice. Or it might be like, bitch, nah, you can't even afford your rent. You don't need a puppy. Something like that. Like, it's down to what's going on in your life. So it's not something that we can be like, torch, nah. Because we don't know. There's no way for us to know. We're just, sending up a cosmic signal and hoping to get one back to give you suggestions, because obviously you're coming to us because you either can't hear the suggestions or just don't want to, and so you're trying to find somewhere else for somebody else to give you a better answer, which does happen a lot. When you do rune readings and tarot readings, a lot of the times people will be like, I don't know, that answer just, I don't relate to it very much. Can I get a new reading? Like, it just doesn't sound like me. And it's like, I mean, yes, but if the second time around it gives you a similar message, I mean, maybe, just maybe, you need to look at you, honey. Not these cards, not these runes. because they're giving you the same answer. You just don't like the answer. And I mean, nobody really likes the hard answers. But, I mean, it's a part of life. You gotta do it. You gotta live with it. You gotta think about what's going on with you. Because I can't answer your questions. Like, I am a mess. I can't even answer my own questions. What makes you think I can answer yours? Like, I mean, I can answer some questions. I'm not an idiot, but, like, I am not qualified to answer your questions with absolute certainty. Can't even answer my own. But yeah. So, for those of you who may have experience with reading tarot cards, it's very similar. The images are not quite as in-depth, because, you know, with tarot cards, they have, like, with the major arcana, you have actual pictures of people in situations, and then you have the number cards, which are a bit more ambiguous, and then you have the people cards within the number cards, the different suits. Y'all know. If you have experience with reading tarot cards, then you know. So with runes compared to tarot, they're a little less, I mean, there's a lot less to draw from, because, I mean, if I give you an example, let me see if I can find one of the major arcana cards. Again, I should have prepared this beforehand. Everyone's favorite JK, not actually favorite card. The Tower. Now, for those of you who do have experience reading tarot cards, you know that the Tower means shit's about to get crazy. Like, shit is about to hit the fan. I hope you brought an umbrella, because, whew. With tarot cards, there's obviously an image that you can draw from. Now, this image, it's not really in line with the traditional tarot cards that I have seen. I just really like this deck because it's super cool. And these are the people that make it down here. But if you look at it, it's a very big, scary tower with an imposing looking winged thing guarding it, and there's lightning striking in the background, which I don't know if you can see, but it's a generally imposing image. So you can draw from everything in this image, you know, little hints, little ideas of what may or may not be going on when you draw this card, whether it's upright or reversed. There's not quite so much to draw from when you get this little sideways carrot symbol that you probably have only encountered in, I don't know, high school math. So, I mean, it's a little less informative at first, because they're just sort of like doodles instead of full-on images. But in some ways, that makes them a lot better with divination, because there's not so much emphasis on what does the image say. You know, what am I looking at here? What is going on in this picture? Why is this being struck by lightning? What is that winged creature? You know, all sorts of stuff is going on in here, and there's a lot to look at. So, like, you can get easily distracted by the extra bits and bobs that are in this image. And if you choose to purchase a non-traditional tarot deck like this one, then, you know, you might look at it and be like, I don't know what that means, because that does not look like the Rider-Waite tarot deck, and all I know is it's scary. Which, I mean, is accurate, but generally when people come to you for readings, they're looking for something a little more in-depth than that. This, I don't know, it's a broken stick. Like it's a line with a little dangly bit. We don't know what this means. It could be the number 1. If it's facing the correct direction, it could be just, some random line with a dangly bit. They're not as specific. They're not as, there's not nearly as much detail, which is generally probably why people prefer tarot over runes, because with runes it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? Now I gotta do a bunch of deep thinking. I gotta put my thinking cap on and, decipher what all of these different meanings could be. But then with this, it's like, okay, well, there's a bunch of shit going on in here. Some scary shit, so scary, yes? Maybe? No? Because, sometimes the tower isn't scary. Sometimes. Very rare occasions. Because, with tower, it generally means that something is about to, this tower is collapsing. Generally, in traditional tarot decks, there's like pictures of people falling out of it. The tower's on fire. There's lightning, this, that, and the other. And yeah, that sounds really scary. And to be honest, even if it's not necessarily meant to be scary, even when whatever that's supposed to represent happens, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be messy. It's going to be, the shit hitting the fan. But sometimes that's a good thing, because, sometimes when making tough decisions about things, and you can't, sometimes it's just better if somebody just takes a baseball bat and is like, there you go. We chose. You're welcome. It's not always fun, because, you should be able to make your own decisions, or at least most people think to themselves, I should be able to make my own decisions. I'm an adult with adult money, and I can make adult decisions, and blah, blah, blah. And then the tower shows up, and somebody takes a baseball bat to your fucking headlight, and you're like, oh, okay. I guess I'm not an adult capable of making adult decisions. But yeah, there's a lot less... runes are more ambiguous, which, in my opinion, they're a lot more fun. Because with tarot cards, because there's, set meanings and things, and, you've got the imagery, that's all fine and dandy. You do you. That's great. But with runes, because they're so ambiguous, whoop, I dropped my box. You have the opportunity to go, okay, well, here are the various different meanings. And, maybe in the course of the reading, you can realize, well, water, it's purifying, it waters the earth, it deals with fertility, can also be destructive, You might realize during the course of the reading that it could mean something entirely different as well. And then you can just add that in for a little spice. And sometimes, when you're doing a reading for a client and you tell them, this means water, means fertility, it means creativity, it also means destruction, and then they could potentially be like, okay, but I feel like it also means this, so maybe it means this. Again, it's suggestions. It's not yes or no, or do this, that, and the other. So, with the ambiguity of runes, it's a lot more fun, in my opinion, because I just really liked psychology, to be honest, because it's interesting to me to consider the way that people think and how they act upon those thoughts and that, all that other stuff, which I can go into for a very long time, but that's not the purpose of this video. So, that's your crash course in runes, specifically the Futhog runes, because I don't know anything about the Celtic runes. I know that they are significantly less geometric or straight. I think the Celtic ones are sort of curvy and stuff. I don't know. I'm not an expert here, but that's your crash. I speak English, I swear. Your crash course in runes. I hope that y'all found it interesting. I hope that y'all found it helpful, useful. I hope that perhaps maybe it has, tickled your little fancy and you're going to go out and, get into rune reading yourself or start studying it. Again, why are you people calling me? I don't know you. I'm a millennial. I don't answer the phone anyway. Text me. This could have been an email, DM me, stuff like that. Don't call me. I don't answer the phone unless you're my mother. And even then, sometimes, I think twice. I'm just kidding. I love you, Mom. But yeah, crash course in runes. Hopefully, you found it useful. Hopefully, when you go somewhere for a reading, you'll have a better understanding of why they're giving you, vague sort of answers. And also, hopefully, with this information, if and when you slide into my DMs and you ask me for a reading, you will understand why I'm giving you the answers I'm giving you. And again, I do also do tarot card readings. Obviously, I have a tarot deck. I actually have two, but one of them I use for ceremonial purposes, spell work, stuff like that. So this one is the one that I use for readings. The other one, just pretend doesn't exist. So, my rates are posted, but you can definitely, message me and ask, what are your rates, what are your options, and I can definitely, send that information to you or, discuss the options with you. And I'm always open to negotiate because I know that in this economy, shit's expensive. Everything's expensive. Fucking food, water, rent. The rent is too damn high. No. But yeah, I'm always open to negotiate. But really, the reason why I started this was partially because I just really enjoy helping people. So, you want some answers? I will do my best to give you those answers, honey boo. But I also need money. I do have bills to pay. I have a mouth to feed. But yeah, I'm always open to negotiate. I also am always open to answer your questions. If you have any questions about, the whole tarot reading process, can you learn more? How can you start doing it yourself? So yeah, just generally message me. I promise I'm nice. I promise I don't bite until I know you better. I know that most people who meet me IRL think that I'm a massive fucking weirdo, which I am. I identify as a cryptid, so. But I'm also super nice. I am the cuddliest cryptid you will ever meet. I promise. So message me. Questions, comments, concerns. If you would like to pay for the services that I provide. I have wares if you have coin. But yeah. So see, and there's the ADD. It's just going. I hope you learned a thing. I hope it taught you a thing. Hope you learned a thing. And I hope that we will be in contact because I love you, spooky people. And yes, all of you are spooky people because if you're coming to me for a rune reading or a tarot reading, that means you gotta believe a little bit in the spook. Unless you're one of those people who's just like, okay, read my cards. Tell me the answers. And then I'm gonna have to sit you down and be like, well, look, I can't give you the answers, but I can give you some suggestions, but I don't like your tone. But yeah, message me. We'll have a chat. It'll be great. We'll be friends. Anyway, hope you all have a lovely day. I love you. And